Hey yo guys, what's up and welcome back to Toe Tags and Metal Reviews, and today you're getting my first impressions of the new releases from Poppy, Helix, Crystal Lake, and Megadeth. So as you can see, I am by myself today. If you don't know this already, TV Fish is halfway across the world in Pakistan, where he is attending one of his best friend's weddings. So he's over there having a great time, and he was not able to listen to the new releases today and share his opinions about it. So that's gonna be on me, and whatever album we choose to review this week. This is actually gonna be the first time we're doing a solo review on this channel, so it's gonna be just me, and you guys are going to be the second vote because TV Fish will not be able to generate a score. So sometime throughout the week, there will be a poll where you guys can vote on the album, and we'll talk about that a little bit later on. But for now, let's get into these new releases. So 4 albums I checked out today. I'm gonna start with Poppy. Now, there might be a little bit of controversy. Why are you covering Poppy? She's a pop star, she's not metal, blah, blah, blah. I really didn't know. I've seen Poppy popping up around all over the place over the last couple years maybe. And I've heard a song or two here and there. I like her cover of Spit by Kitty, which I'm a Kitty fan, I like that. I think she does a pretty good job there. But I didn't really know what to get into. I've never listened to one of her albums before, but I thought, you know what? I think enough people consider her metal. I'll check the album out and cover it on the channel. So the album's called Empty Hands. The first song starts, it's called Public Domain, and I'm immediately turned off. It's awful. I hate it. It's just like auto-tuned, alternative pop. Like, I really don't know what to make of it, but I'm giving it a chance. So the next song comes on, it's called Bruised Sky. And it's a bit better. It's got some hardcore elements, maybe some metalcore kind of stuff in there, but it's broken up with like very clean melodic, type of stuff. It was really taking me out. So I'm kind of like 0 for 2 at this point. Then as the album's going on, I'm kind of like getting used to her voice. And I'm like, you know what? She actually doesn't have a bad voice. She can actually carry a tune pretty well. She's got a pretty good voice. She's got a nice fry. She's got a nice clean vocal. She's got some talent. I'm gonna give her that. I'm gonna fast forward to track number 6 because this is where things finally, kind of turn a leaf for me. Dying to Forget. All of a sudden we have like a full-on metalcore song, kind of leading into the hardcore aspect of things. You got some syncopation in there. She's screaming, she's mad. There's some slam riff going on. It just is a complete 180 from my first initial thought of the album. And I was like, okay, now there's finally something here, but I still wasn't really in love with it. Then track number 8, Eat the Hate. I thought this was another cool song. It reminded me of Veruca Salt, and I'm kind of showing my age a little bit here, but that's a band from the 90s, which featured 2 female singers, and they had 1 or 2 hit songs. I think one of their biggest songs was called Volcano Girls, and I kind of want to go back and listen to it now because for some reason this song, Eat the Hate, was really reminding me of Volcano Girls or Veruca Salt. And I thought that was interesting that it was kind of giving me that memory. Then the album's kind of dying on me until the very last song, Empty Hands. Similar to Dying to Forget, this song just throws down a lot harder than anything else on the album. It's a nice way to close out the album, but I just don't think any of these songs I'm gonna be rushing to put in my playlist. Has some more slam riffs. It kind of just isn't enough to really like impress me. But the thing is, when I went back and spun this a second time, I enjoyed it a lot more. And I'm not talking about the songs that I already didn't like, but the songs that I was kind of like a little bit more favorable to, they were growing on me fast. So tracks like Dying to Forget, Eat the Hate, and Empty Hands, those songs, I would say they slap. Like, I would say those are certified bangers and they're worth checking out for anybody that, might be interested in this artist. But for the rest of the album, it fell pretty flat for me. So moving on, we're gonna talk about The Weight of Sound by Crystal Lake. So, Crystal Lake is a band that I've checked out a few times, never listened to an album, just heard songs here and there, but I see buzz about this band. I see people mentioning them on Reddit, I see them mentioning them on X, I see them mentioning them here and there. TV Fish is a fan of Crystal Lake, but I never really quite got the hype. So I'm like, okay, this is my first time I'm gonna jump into this album, and hopefully it lands, it sticks the landing. Unfortunately, it didn't. I listened to this album 2 or 3 times today, and I feel like it just is very average and very basic. Maybe their previous stuff is better than this, I'm not entirely sure, but every time I listen to this band, I kind of feel like this is just the most basic, simple, average metalcore you could get. There's nothing really unique about it at all. The vocals are probably the thing that turned me off the most because they're so plain, and there's really, I hear no character, I hear no individuality in the vocals, and for me, I guess that goes a long way. I like when the bands I listen to have some type of uniqueness to the vocals that kind of sets them apart from other bands. There are a few features on this album too. None of them really stood out to me, and I made a comment on our Evermore review, or sorry, Endless review by Of Sulfur, about how features in deathcore and metalcore are kind of just watered down these days and don't really do anything special for me. They kind of just are almost pointless in a sense. The only note I made about this album as a positive was from the last song, Coma Wave. They introduced piano into the song, and I thought it was very, very well executed. The piano intertwined in the song, and that was something that piqued my ears up, and I kind of like, was just audibly attracted to that aspect of the song. So I thought that was a really cool thing that they did, but it was a little too late at that point. It was at the very end of the album. At that point, I was like tapped out already. Again, I gave this another spin or 2 spins, and hoping that maybe, something will catch my ear, and it didn't. This album just comes and goes with nothing else in between, and unfortunately, it just didn't do it for me. So next, we're gonna talk about Helix. Helix, Canadian, old school, heavy metal band. I used to listen to this band when I was a kid. It was on, my dad was a metalhead, and he would play some Helix here and there, but I never got into them, never really checked them out too much. So I thought, you know what, they're dropping an album, why not throw Helix in the mix and check it out? So I did, and I'm just gonna say, this is not for me. I mean, I do like some old school metal, but for me, this is, it just doesn't have the same quality of bands like Wasp or Quiet Riot or Rat or any of those types of bands with that old school sound. This is a little bit more, a little more hokey, maybe a little bit more like Anvil maybe. But it really wasn't doing it for me. I was hoping to get something that had some really driving riffs or some nice vocals. Speaking of the vocals, they kind of just were a little bit bland. I mean, they're getting old. I'm kind of shitting on them a little bit, maybe unfairly, but my only thing that I kind of wrote was in the very first song, which is called Stuck in the 80s, which, again, it was a very fitting title for a song. Should have been the album title. The album's called Scrap Metal, by the way. But the chorus of this song is very reminiscent to Shout at the Devil by Motley Crue. And I thought that it sounded a lot like that, except it just doesn't have that Vince Neil screaming, like that epic screaming that Vince Neil would do. So it kind of like reminded me of something, but was like a complete like lackluster version of it. So yeah, I didn't really enjoy Helix that much. I thought, why not give it a chance? I thought maybe there'd be some stuff in there that might, catch my attention or be enjoyable. But unfortunately for me, again, it didn't stick the landing. So scrap metal, not for me. Moving on, the album that you guys probably clicked this video for, and the album that we've all been waiting for, finally is here. Megadeth, self-titled album, the last album from thrash legends Megadeth. Been a Megadeth fan for a very long time. Decades and decades of listening to Megadeth. I was really looking forward to this album. And my overall thoughts, I listened to it, I think, at least 2 times, maybe 3 times today. And my overall thoughts is that there's some really good stuff on here, but overall I found it probably a little bit on the boring side. And I hurts to say that. I really don't want to say that. But, just to get into, I guess, some of my notes that I have here, Tipping Point, I think, is a great opener. We reacted to that song when it came out. I think it's a cool song, but I don't like the bridge. The bridge comes on, I'm just like, ugh, I just want the song to be over already. Don't like the bridge. I Don't Care, I think, is also a really good song. This song taps into those punk roots that kind of helped mold thrash into existence, and I think I just have a degree of respect for it in that regard. there's a few songs on this album, at least two, that have what I call the She-Wolf riff, and She-Wolf obviously being a Megadeth song, but I actually have a list somewhere. I tried to find it, but I couldn't find it. I have a list of songs that have the She-Wolf list, because every time I hear it, it just pops out to me. But I Don't Care has a bit of the She-Wolf riff around the solo area, and then the next song, which is called Hey God, also has a bit of the She-Wolf riff. Now, it's not exactly the She-Wolf riff, but if you listen to them side by side, they sound very similar. And I wish I had my list, because I have a list of a bunch of songs from different bands that have this riff, and the only one I can remember off the top of my head is Fat Lip Pain for Pleasure by Sum 41. They do the She-Wolf riff in that song as well. But anyways, one of my issues again with this album is that there's a lot of songs on this album that feel like the mid-album breather song, and we talk about that on this channel a lot, where, you know, a metal album can be like balls to the walls, cover to cover, just super heavy the whole time, but we tend to like it when there's at least one song somewhere in the middle of the album that kind of tones things down a bit, and it helps give the album contour, it helps give the album a nice flow, it helps give you a bit of a break from the chaos, and we like that. Now, as their final outing, I was expecting Megadeth to kind of go balls to the walls with this album. I was expecting all of the songs to be super fast, super heavy, super thrashy, and kind of just go out with one glorious swan song type of thing. That's what I was expecting. But it's not really what we got. We got several songs like Another Bad Day, Obey the Call, I Am a War, or I Am War. These songs all kind of, they all feel like the mid-album breather song to me. And they're all kind of also packed in the second half of the album, which another thing I wasn't too fond of. But there's stuff in and around them that I really like. Made to Kill starts off with a great drum intro, has some nice riffs. It also touches on that punk side of thrash, which is cool. I like when they do that because they don't do it too much, right? They kind of do it a little bit here, do it a little bit there, but they don't oversaturate their albums with that kind of sound, which is really cool. I don't know if it's worth mentioning, but other people are probably going to be talking about it. Ride the Lightning. So we already knew this was coming. It actually, I'm pretty sure it leaked or it came out previously, but I didn't listen to it. Megadeth's cover, by the way, that we all probably knew about. It's not included in our review because we don't include bonus tracks, and we usually don't include cover songs, but we've made exceptions. But bonus tracks we don't include, and this is a bonus track. So it's not included in the review, but I think it's worth at least acknowledging just because of the status and stature of the song. I don't think it's very good. I just don't think it's good. And the thing that holds it back, and I hate to say this, but it's the vocals. And coming from me, like, I like Dave Mustaine's vocals, and I know I'm probably in a minority. I know there's a lot of people that really can't even stand Megadeth because of Dave's vocals. I like Dave's vocals. I like the way he sings. The problem with this song is, though, when you are familiar and so familiar with hearing somebody else sing it, and then you hear Dave pretty much butcher it with his voice, it really, really just doesn't sell it. The thing that could have saved this would have been the solo, basically, an epic solo, which I do not think they delivered on. So unfortunately, it didn't do it for me. Ride the Lightning on the cover. It just, the vocals, man, they killed it for me. I can't listen to it without hearing James sound better, and I just much rather listen to the original. So that was a sad thing, but again, that's not part of our review if we review the album. So overall, though, I'm kind of mixed. I love Megadeth, I really do. There's a lot of really cool stuff on here, some really great soloing, some cool riffs. Dave is kind of doing this whole, like, the album is more about himself and more about his thoughts and stuff like that. He's not really going too political with it. And, you know, I'm not quite sure how I feel about that decision. I know it's kind of meant to be a bit of a throwback, kind of like touching the roots of thrash. And I think that it does a decent job at kind of doing that. But anyways, I'm gonna review this album for the entire week, and I'll be back next week to give a score. But we need you guys to give us the other score, because TV Fish isn't reviewing the album. So at some point through the week, keep an eye out for a community post. I'm gonna post it probably somewhere around Wednesday or Thursday, and you guys are gonna have scoring options to vote on, and then depending on what you guys give it, you guys are gonna be the other score. So you have the power now to possibly put an album on the toe tag list or prevent it from getting on the toe tag list, depending on how you score it. But I think it's in all of our best interest, if you guys are going to participate in the scoring, to listen to the album as much as you possibly can to develop a nice, firm, and thorough opinion of the album, just like we do, and then you'll be able to kind of give a nice educated vote when that time comes. Anyways, guys, for now, you can leave your thoughts down below and let us know what you guys thought of all these new releases or any other new releases that we might have missed or not talked about in this video. And yeah, just comment down below. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. I'm Vile Self. I'll see you guys on the next one.